Ain't got much here tonight.
We're going to go ahead and get started. Are you ready, City Attorney?
Yes, sir.
City Clerk?
Yes, sir.
City Manager?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Everett?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin?
Yes.
Sergeant at Arms?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I call this workshop of the Pahokee City Commission of Tuesday, December 11, 2018, to order at 6:11 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation given by Deacon Colvin, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, tonight we are thankful for our city. We're thankful for the freedom to come together for the city to do business. And God, as we're here, we just ask that you'll give our leaders your wisdom, God, that they'll do what you would have them to do, and bless this city. We praise you for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb.
Present.
Commissioner Everett.
Present.
Commissioner Hill.
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervin.
Present.
Commissioner Walker.
Present.
City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Present.
Lieutenant Piccolo.
Present.
Interim City Clerk present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff, and thank each of you all for coming out tonight to participate in our workshop of December 11, 2018, including the regular commission meeting. Our agenda appears to be pretty short, not very lengthy tonight. At this time, I would turn this portion over to our city manager to guide us in the agenda discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. Citizens of Pahokee, visitors, thanks for coming out tonight to our last official 2018 commission meeting. Happy holidays to everyone. Certainly has been a good year for the city of Pahokee. Excuse me? Can't hear?
It may not be working, but no, you're very difficult to hear.
Okay. Well, I left off at happy holidays. Sorry about that if you can't hear. It's been a good year here in the city of Pahokee, and I'll talk about that later. Mayor, we have a light agenda. We have the workshop minutes. We have one addition, a resolution for Pahokee Consultants, PPM Consultants, I'm sorry, and that's our lobbying firm that works for us in Tallahassee. Then we have a resolution for approving of, Resource Group NA is the lobbying group, and PPMM is the consulting group for our Brownsfield grant that we are awarded by the U.S. Department of Environmental Protection for Brownsfield assessments here in the city of Pahokee. So that's your two resolutions tonight. And we also have a presentation, the Mayor's Gold Hammer and Nail Award to Johnny, Terry, and Kernisha Terry. I'm assuming they'll be joining us fairly shortly. Yeah. That's the agenda for tonight, Mayor. If it pleases the commission, there are a few updates I'll provide in the workshop. If you want to workshop any questions at this time, we're certainly welcome to do that based on my report. That's okay?
That'll be fine.
Okay. All right. This comes from my bi-weekly report. I sent a detailed, well, it wasn't detailed, but it was a listing of all of our projects that were given to the city of Pahokee through appropriations. That's a little different than what we consider grants. That's just legislative appropriations, and it's quite different than grant money and legislative appropriations. So I listed those, and I listed the actual grants that we've received as well. One I wanted to highlight is the FDOT grant awarded for the new transportation bus here at Parks and Recreation. Of course, we haven't received that bus yet. There's some more prerequisites that the city has to bear before it's delivered. We anticipate we'll probably have that delivery early spring, maybe by end of January for Parks and Recreation. And I think the value of that grant of that new bus is about $125,000. So that's good for Parks and Recreation. We've also submitted our application for the 2019 Solid Waste Authority Demolition Grant. As you know, we received $599,000 in 2017 to demolish the old water plant. That was successfully completed this year. And so the application was released again for more, well, the application was released again this year for applying for 2019 demolition. And so we did apply. We got the application in on time, November 15th. We probably won't see $599,000, but we requested close to about $400,000 for the old City Hall. So that award won't be announced until mid to the end of January. We think we have a really good chance of getting funding for that, and that's good. So we can really prepare that corridor of the city of Pahokee for some new economic development. Parks and Recreation 3-year football grant, that's a grant that is providing us free sports equipment here at Parks and Recreation. That grant will go, I think it was a 2.5 to 3 year grant where they will provide us anywhere from helmets, shoulder pads, sneakers, cleats, and all we pay for is the actual shipping of the product. So, and that grant was at a value of about $250,000. I'm not quite sure of the amount, but I think it's close in that range. And so we're going into year 2 of that grant. Commissioner's Park is complete. I think I'll hold those pictures until the regular meeting and show you some of the things that have occurred out there on that project. This coming Friday, we will have a rededication. Mayor, I can hold that if you want to speak about it later. I can stay away from that subject, but we will have a rededication of Commissioner's Park on Friday. And Mayor Babb, you can follow up on some additional information in the regular meeting. We're excited to get that park back open. There's some things that we've done out there that are really good for this community. Of course, we can start shifting our focus to MLK Park and some of our other surtax funding because it's separate funding for MLK versus what we receive for Commissioner's Park. We did go after money for MLK Park along with this park for legislative funding, but they didn't choose both. They chose Commissioner's Park. That wasn't our decision. It was Tallahassee's. So hopefully in this upcoming legislative year, including with our surtax dollars, that we're going to do some things with MLK. MLK Park will also be a legislative priority going into Tallahassee for 2019 as well. Got a lot to do out there. Marina Pool is done. We completed the renovations on the pool at the Marina. It looks really nice. We put a new bottom in there, and it really looks great. They filled it up this past weekend. There's some things that have to do with treating the water and testing on some other things there as far as the operational system. But it really looks good. There's some external things we need to do at the pool. We still have to paint the awnings. We were thinking about white. We're just not sure yet. But there's some external things, just some painting and upkeep, some pressure washing here and there. And we'll be done with that part of the marina. The inside of the restaurant, just got a quote for the final renovations inside the kitchen itself. They'll be getting started. It's well under the mark of $10,000, which is great. And they'll get started probably next week. And the walk-in cooler, as you can see, it's there, but it's not completely complete on the inside. They have to put the installation on the inside of that particular part of the restaurant and put some gutters on the outside. We anticipate probably in the next week they'll be done with that project too. The deck, I say 14 days. I give it 14 days. They'll be done with the majority of that deck, outside of some follow-up with what they have to do with the rain coming in from the doors to the restaurant. They're gonna do something there to help us out, because that's one of the reasons why we sealed the doors, is because we could never stop the rain from coming in. And so they're going to help us out with that as well. So that'll be the last part of that project. But 14 days, and I'm not going to stick to 14 days, but at the rate that they're moving, I want to say by Christmas they'll be done. They weren't there this week. They were put on another job. That happens at times, and not because we didn't pay them. I heard that circulating again. But contractors work like this. Contractors never have one job. They always have 2, 3, or 4 jobs. And they may have 2 or 3 crews. And when they're paying crews weekly, and they don't get a check for this project this week, they move their workers to another project for a couple of days until their check for that project comes through. Then they go back to work. So when they say they pull guys off a project because they haven't received the check, it's because that check hasn't arrived for them to pay their workers that week. No matter what you're hearing or how you're interpreting that, I need to explain that because there's so much misinformation out there that, oh, the contractors walked away. Not true. They pull them off this job and put them on another job until that part of the project is paid, and then they come back. They haven't walked away from a project, but that's okay. We understand that sometimes the language gets mixed up and it doesn't come back out right to the community, and we have to correct those sometimes, but that's how most contractors operate. Subsequently, the largest contractor, the biggest contractor out there has pulled this guys off of the projects many times. He has 6 projects going on. So he has to balance those projects. And so I just want to kind of clear that up. Gymnasium, as you know, $800,000. Hopefully they'll get started with that sometime early February, as previously mentioned. Gymnasium, I think we're where we need to be. City attorney with the football field, with the football field. There's some things we have to finish up for them to get started out here. And that's about it. I have several more things I can discuss, Mayor, but I don't want to go through that entire list of what we've been able to do the last 24 months here. I just want to highlight some of those things that are ongoing and to address any questions that we may have about the marina, not the leases, but the actual construction of what's going on out there. We're doing some small projects in certain areas. Oh, I forgot to mention, docks A, B, C, and D, the actual sewer hookup system is complete. We have to replace the actual engines. The engines work, but the engines are old, and we made a decision to replace them with new, so we don't have to worry about that in the future. It will be installed between tomorrow and through the weekend, and then we'll start some testing. The major part about the marina is we have a pipe that's in our right-of-way that we have to repair. That's a part of the sewer. DEP knows about it. They got an update on it. They're well aware of it. We're waiting on a quote to come in. We went back and forth with the county on it. County finally realized that, hey, it's our responsibility to fix. We'll get it done. That's really the last major piece to test docks A, B, C, and D. And once that's done, and then we can satisfy DEP that docks E and F are capped because they are completely severed. There's a lot more work that has to be done there. We'll wait, their approval of what we've been able to do on docks A, B, C, and D, and then move forward. That's it, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, toy toy giveaway is next Wednesday at Parks and Recreation here at the cafeteria at 6 o'clock. We'll make a lot of kids happy on that night. If you want to volunteer, please call City Hall. We can use some volunteers that night as well.
Okay. At this time, city commissioners, do you have any question of the city manager, even if it's dirty laundry? We want to have a smooth and fruitful regular commission meeting. Vice Mayor Murray.
Mr. City Manager, can you just update, just for some of the rumors out about the Tri-City Barbecue? Can you just please give it out to explain the Tri-City Barbecue from the Palm Beach League of Cities few part of it. Because we got people saying that, you know, that they were turned away from the Tri-City Barbecue. Can you just, you know, give it out to the public on the, you know?
All municipalities in this county, all counties in the state of Florida have a league. And it's their county league. It can be the Broward League of Cities, Dade League of Cities, or the Palm Beach League of Cities. And if you are a current elected official, appointed official, city manager, you know, or you work for an auxiliary agency connected to the county or that city currently, you receive an RSVP. Because Tri-Cities Barbecue is officially the last meeting of the year. They have 12 of them. And they host those Palm Beach League of Cities meetings in various cities in Palm Beach County every fourth Wednesday. And one of the first things you do at each of these meetings, 11 months out the year, when you walk in the door, they check you in. Because it's a membership meeting. However, the last meeting of the year, they choose to come to the Glades. And it took on the title as the Tri-Cities Barbecue. But it really is the last official membership meeting of the year. So they send out RSVPs to all of their current elected officials and city managers and associate organizations that are connected to municipal government. And sometimes those municipal agencies could be nonprofit, sometimes they can be for profit, but they send the invitations out, not the city. We do not send any RSVPs out whatsoever. What happened Friday is you had individuals coming in assuming it was a public event. It wasn't a public event. It was the Palm Beach League of Cities' last membership meeting of the year. And I want to repeat, Pahokee doesn't control the RSVP invitations. We are the host of the event. Our responsibilities is set up, provide food, and that's it. The RSVPs, that is given out by the Palm Beach League of Cities. Now, if you are a former elected official and you didn't receive an RSVP, you would have to have called either Richard Radcliffe, the executive director of Palm Beach League of Cities, or his assistant, and request that. Or they could have possibly called the whole city manager, and I would have asked Richard Radcliffe. But I never personally got a phone call from anybody, former elected officials, wanting an RSVP. I can't explain that any clearer, Vice Mayor, than I just did. But if there was any miscommunication, hey, we apologize. There was one former elected official there. He was there, and I told him he could stay. We didn't put anybody out. We didn't. But if you went to the registration table, again, this is a Palm Beach League of Cities meeting, and they indicated that you were not on the list. That did not come from the city of Pahokee. That came from the Palm Beach League of Cities, not us. Anything else, Vice Mayor,
No,
on that?
thank you. And I know also, I meant to bring a copy of the RSVP and I left it, but at the bottom of the RSVP itself has a disclaimer. And the disclaimer says, for Palm Beach League of Cities members only. That's the disclaimer. So, you know, we just have to stop putting out, you know, bad information and be informed and put out the right information. You know, because it makes your city looks really bad. You're fighting about a party. Actually, it was a meeting of your Palm Beach League of Cities of members. It's a members meeting. So, you know, we just have to put out the right information, you know. And I know for a fact that, I guess after they left the RSVP table,
There's some people just came, and that was, you know, that was fine. They came on in, ate, and it was no problem, you know. But we have to just put out the right information, be informed,
Yeah.
and that's all I wanted the public to know.
Well, that was that Tri-Cities is still being talked about, by the way. Many felt it was one of the best Tri-Cities they've been to in a very long time. We brought in over 1,000 toys for needy kids here in the Glades, and that's significant. We put on a very, very good show. Some of you were here. Some of you citizens were here. We really highlighted, you know, the city of Pahokee, that marina. Even though with the remaining projects, people were very, very pleased with our presentation and our hosting of this event this year. And I don't want that to be overshadowed by, you know, a few that didn't get an RSVP. City of Pahokee really, really impressed some folks on last Friday. And that's important because when we talk about economic development, you know, branding our city, being inviting, that was really important to the city to do on Friday. And that's all I've heard. You know, I was at the Lord meeting today, and they were impressed with what we did. We try to set the bar high. We try to set a standard, and I think we did that with this year's Tri-City Barbecue. There were some hiccups along the way, but probably anyone here probably never saw those things because you had a really hard-working staff that has been working on this event for over 6 months, and it showed. And so they're not here tonight, but our staff did a magnificent job of hosting Tri-Cities Barbecue, and so did the other 2 cities. And so, yeah.
Thank you, City Manager.
Yes, I did. I guess that was one of a few concerns that I had with regards to the whole Tri-City Barbecue and it being the last League of Cities meeting. Got a call from one of the former elected officials, and one of the things that I tried to communicate is I went directly to Mr. Ratcliffe, the executive director, and spoke with his assistant, and he did state it in emphatic terms that it was not a City of Pahokee's event. We were the whole city, but they were still in control of the guest list. I guess one of the things that I have a soft spot for, and that is protecting the face of our city in light of some people not really caring about the face of our city with regards to just immediately running to Facebook and other social media outlets to try to run down our city, because if one of us failed in the city, I feel like all of us fail. We have to bear that burden. But one of the things I am, I guess, also sensitive to is people's perceptions shapes their reality. And when you have 2 former elected officials see laypersons in those settings, it kind of weakens our defense when we say it is a RSVP situation, for lack of a better word. And I can point out persons that were there who were not current elected officials or associates, but they were there. And another concern that I had, and I don't know if this was true because I wasn't there to witness, this is just information that I've received from constituents, regardless of what side of decisions I may find myself on with them. I try to side on the side of right. And one of the other concerns that was brought up was anyone escorted off the premises by law enforcement. Question.
You asking me that question?
Yeah, was it?
Not to my knowledge. When I spoke with a particular former elected official, I actually said, you know, out of respect as a former official, you can stay, period. And I went back to being a city manager for that day. I did not engage anyone else that is making that claim. No, I was aware of anyone being escorted off by law enforcement. The individual I encountered, I actually said, you can stay out of respect of being a former elected official. I have no problem with that. And that was it.
And I do believe that there's
So-
some other dynamics,
Yeah.
that's playing into it. But I'm just concerned about the city's face and that people are treated fairly and equally. And I'm just getting back to the point at hand. You had laypersons, citizens that have never held an official title with the city, that was there with no problem. And I'm talking about people that were out there that are not here tonight that I engaged in conversations with. So, once again, I'm sensitive to a person's perception, because at the end of the day, perception shapes their reality. And one of the things I've said is, if it was truly, which it was, because that's what the executive director told me, it was a last official meeting for this League of Cities. And I just felt like we should have been, in hindsight, been a lot more stricter and kept it to that, because it was some lay persons that were there. And I try to be fair, and what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. And that's just my position as one commissioner. But I think it was a great event. It was a signature event. But in light of it being a great event, a way to brand our city, I'm still sensitive to one's concern, and also sensitive to the city staff that had a little altercation with an individual who formerly represented our city as well. That's also a concern of mine.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Everett. We're going to adjourn the workshop at this time and reconvene in 2 minutes for our regular city commission meeting.
that they are not.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. City Attorney, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Clerk, City Manager,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Sergeant at Arms Lieutenant. Ready, Sergeant at Arms?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I call this regular City Commission meeting of December the 11th, 2018 at 6:43 to order. May we please stand for the invocation given by Reverend Spry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Most gracious and eternal Father, as we come again another time for this meeting, we pray, God, that you would touch our officials, continue to bless them as they continue to work for our city, continue to bless our citizens as they support their efforts. We pray in the name of Jesus that you will keep us strong and keep Pahokee strong in spite of all the negativity. I pray that you will continue to bless this city and raise it up in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Commissioner Everett, Commissioner Everett,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker, City Manager,
Present.
City Attorney,
Here.
Lieutenant Piccolo,
Here.
Interim City Clerk present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. And thank each of you all for being here tonight to participate in our regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, December 11, 2018. At this time, we'll entertain additions, deletions, and approve of the agenda items. City Manager, at this time, do we have any additions?
Yes, Mayor. We have Resolution 2018-79, resolution for agreeing to consultants for Brownsville Environmental Consulting Services for the City of Pahokee. 2018-79 is the resolution for addition, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commissioners, likewise, do you have any add-ons, deletions?
If my memory serves me correctly, I thought under old business that we were going to have marina projects under the old business, if my memory serves me correctly.
Yes, sir. City Clerk, may please in the future add that to the agenda as a regular line item for us. Thank you, ma'am. That will be added. Thank you, Commissioner Everett. In addition, add-ons. I have one. It's the cancellation of the December 25th, 2018 regular commission meeting, which is Christmas.
I knew you would
We'll
call that.
officially vote on that and put it on the,
12/25. You said 25th, right?
yes, yes, sir.
And also,
Tuesday.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, if we can, I guess maybe if not under old business, under city manager report with regards to recreational funding. I know that has hit the news and also street news, and so if we could be provided with facts concerning that incident and where we currently stand with that particular issue.
Okay.
Is that in addition to what I sent out already?
Well, I know you sent it to us, but I think it would be good in an official public meeting for you to echo those same sentiments.
Sure.
All right.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, we asked for the, a listing of the meetings, all the contracts, the update on the funding and the,
Okay, that would be under the city manager report. I think he,
No.
Is-
no?
I thought you, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. that was-
we asked for a listing,
She asked for a listing for all projects and grants.
Okay.
grants
Yeah.
and everything, but all, we need a listing printed out to us, each of us.
Actually, Commissioner Walker, I sent that in a bi-weekly report. I also printed it out as well. I can give you a copy of it here tonight.
Did you hear the response, Commissioner Walker? He say he included that in the, his bi-weekly report to the commissions.
And I also
He
bought a
also
copy.
printed it out and have a copy that he can give to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he
Well,
listed
you-
all the,
Nobody
projects.
has, I don't have, access to the,
Printer.
computer,
Computer
cause I
and printer.
can't,
I can give you a copy. I bought a copy with me.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
You're
cause
welcome.
I don't have access to the computer.
Okay.
But, you know, I'll leave that alone.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. Having heard the add-ons and the request for a report to be placed under the,
No, I can't do that, not with good conscience. With respectfully, city manager, from the last meeting, that's not what, I know you sent out a bi-weekly report, but according to what I'm understanding, Commissioner Walker to be asking is for a list of all of our projects.
That is all of our projects.
Detailing, your bi-weekly report is.
That is all of our projects. There's nothing missing there. And it either says complete, ongoing, or done. I don't know what else I could add to that. Even got the amount of the project listed there too.
okay, let's let Commissioner Walker take a look at it, and if that's not enough,
I
or
can
that's
take-
not the correct
I can take the
information,
same
we'll get it
information and put it in a
updated.
spreadsheet, but it's gonna be the same. I
We
I made it easy to read and comprehend without any questions. And
Well, I don't want to speak for Commissioner Walker because
I didn't,
that's a request that she made, and but from our discussion that we had in our previous commission meeting, and I'm calling on my colleagues to help me out. I mean, I don't want to think that my mental faculties are foggy, but I thought you all, that it was discussed that we would have that from what
Each project.
a list of each project, and I don't know if my memory is clear enough, but I thought funding.
the fund amount and expenditure.
I thought that's what she was asking. Am I?
Right. So
was
that what you
I
have,
the only
okay,
one
the
there?
report that you have tonight, what is that report that you could give her tonight? that you
This
have?
report lists all of our projects. It lists the amount of money in the project. It lists if it's complete, ongoing, or there's some additional follow-up.
Okay.
Now, if you want, a detailed expenditure of every check we paid out and make copies of it and attach that to it, okay? That's the expenditure report.
So Commissioner Walker, just for clarification, you are requesting each of the reports be listed and expenditure of all the money or funds that have been spent in those various reports.
That's why I was requesting, but I don't know what the, when he said checks, how many checks going to how many
Contract.
Yes.
Okay, city manager, she's looking for, and this commission, I guess, also would be looking for a more detailed report.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll take
including
this
expenditure.
information,
Right.
put it in a spreadsheet, and then for each of these projects, I'll put all of the expenditures, which is essentially the invoices that come in for those, and the payout with those invoices, and attach it. It's gonna be lengthy, and it won't be 2 pages, but sure.
And
No
when can the commission expect to have that?
I would have to consult with the finance director in that department to see how long it take them to compile all that. You have essentially about 15 different projects and grants here. So, you know, you're talking about a lengthy process of getting all those invoices and checks. It's not a problem. It's just, you know, maybe I misinterpreted what she was looking for. I thought she wanted a spreadsheet with an update on where we are, et cetera. But if you're looking for a detailed expenditure, every dime and every piece of paper and pencil, et cetera, that's a little bit more lengthy than what we have here. The great thing about it is we got a great software system, so we can flush that back out and attach that to the new spreadsheet. Make it easy, a little easier to read.
Okay.
I got to say this without, and God knows it's not being adversarial, confrontational, but we definitely don't need to know how many, and I know you probably just using that as an example, don't need to know the pencils or pens that you purchase. But just for instance, with Commissioner's Park, if the grant was $500,000, I guess what is being asked, and I think all of us would, you know, would definitely like that information, and even possibly community, is seeing how that money has been expended,
Right.
how it has been used, and I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, I know staff works for the city manager at our pleasure. I think it's best that we give a date as to when we want it, and it be a reasonable date for staff to work. But if it's already being done on a day-to-day basis, it shouldn't be hard to collect the artifacts and, you know, have them presented. I think a 2-week turnaround is reasonable enough if you've been, you know, keeping record.
Okay.
Well, since we have a next commission meeting not until January the 8th.
Now, he suggested a week turnaround, so it would be next week, next Tuesday would be sufficient.
I can't speak for the finance director tonight on that, but if you're saying Tuesday, okay.
Yeah, that's a week to put together the figures or compile the information. That's the request. If for some reason it's not met, then we need an explanation of maybe why. So we'll move on. We have that request in order. At this time, I entertain a motion for the additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda items with the 2 add-ons.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda with the 2 add-ons, 2 or 3. Let's go to 3 add-ons.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Everett that we'll accept the agenda with the add-ons presented tonight. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The agenda items is approved by the unanimous vote. Now we entertain our citizen comments. Must be an agenda item, must have a comment card completed. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any comments cards completed?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll now move to public service announcement. Also must have a public service card, comment card completed. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any public service comments card completed?
Yes, sir, we have 2. The first one is from Mr. Herbert Crawford.
Good evening. Herbert Crawford, 8833 Eldorado Drive, Pahokee. On behalf of Palm Beach County Youth Services and Urban League of the Palm Beach County, I just wanted to announce a mentor and recruitment meeting that will be hosted at the Town Center Cafe on tomorrow at 11 to 1. And basically, this is a recruitment for volunteers to go out and mentor to our youth and throughout the community of the Glades. So again, Palm Beach County Youth Services and Urban League, they'll be bringing out all the agencies that provide services throughout the Glades. So it gives us an opportunity to see who's in the community, what services are being provided, and if we want to become volunteer, it'll give us the opportunity to join with the local agencies or whatnot to amp up and become mentor. And lunch will be provided by the county at that event.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett.
Now there's some flyers on the back table.
Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry, did you give the time?
11.
11, okay. 11 to 1. Okay, thank you.
City Clerk, we're ready for the second.
Mr. Anthony Jackson.
Good evening to everyone. I just want to extend an invitation on behalf of the Musical Arts Consortium, the Glades. We will be sponsoring Make Music Winter, which is also associated and affiliated with the National Association of Musical Merchants, which is known as NAM. We will be having a holiday caroling and concert on the outside of United Baptist Church in the courtyard on Friday, December 21st, starting at 6:30 and ending at 8:30. So if you don't have anything to do, bring your lawn chairs, your off, and your lights and stuff so that we can have a good time and celebrate the holiday season by singing familiar tunes. And I have some people on the lineup that you will really enjoy and just have an evening celebrating the winter and holidays. Thanks. United Baptist, the former First Baptist Church, it's going to be in the courtyard. Missionary Baptist Church.
Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson, did you contact City Hall about requesting doing some annual musical forums?
Yes, sir.
Let's get together and see if we can work something out.
All
okay?
right.
Because we have some space for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, sir.
It's next Friday, 21st, 6:30 to 8:30.
Mr. Mayor, while we're in the commercial, can I interject too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one, I was stopped by maybe possibly a contract PR person for the city with regards to the MLK Junior Parade, just putting that out there, and I think that's got what that would be January 21st. And also, we have a gospel legend that will be coming to Pahokee, sung with the likes of Mahalia Jackson and former member of the Caravans, in the person of Dr. Dorothy Norwood. She will be coming to Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church.
That's the 21st, Commissioner.
Yeah, 21st of January, but also on December the 30th, that gospel legend will be at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, December the 30th at 5 o'clock. But be great if we could get some colleagues to welcome that legend into our city. Maybe give her a little proclamation or something.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, sir.
You make a motion for the proclamation?
You'll provide the information to the clerk if she need to do the basic.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can you can vote for that?
Yeah.
No.
You make a motion?
Okay, well,
You
if our chair will entertain.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It's open.
I would like to offer a motion that we, as a city, present an official proclamation to Dr. Dorothy Norwood, gospel legend, living legend, on Sunday, December the 30th at 5 o'clock, Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly second by Commissioner Hill that we present a proclamation Call for questions. Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The proclamation request passes by unanimous vote.
So,
Just a question, MLK, would that be on the 21st or the 19th in Pahokee?
The MLK Parade and Extravaganza is the 19th, which is Saturday. I think Commissioner Everett is speaking of a separate event on the actual MLK holiday.
no, sir, I need to get, let me get clarity.
Okay, all
On
right,
that, I
because
thought maybe you had
the city's
knowledge.
event is that Saturday,
Okay,
the 19th. Yeah,
And that's what,
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
the 21st.
right. And the actual holiday is that Monday, the 21st.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
all right.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Mervin, at this time, I think you indicated that you wanted to do a resolution for one of the
Oh, yes.
city
I'd like to
employee
do,
whose son
Yeah.
was
As we have, probably most of us heard that we had one of our employees' son was accidentally passed away. And we would like to do a resolution for him. So I would like to make a motion that we do a resolution for Robert, I don't know his last name, but the death of his son. I
someone
think the
said
funeral
Williams,
is gonna be this Saturday,
Robert Williams.
Robert Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, he told me this.
Can I get a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Everett that we do a resolution for Robert Williams, an employee of the city of Pahokee who lost.
Proclamation, Mayor.
Proclamation.
Yes, right. That's what she was trying to tell.
Yeah.
Proclamation, okay.
Trying to tell.
We
Sorry
move
about
that
that,
we
Mr. Walker.
do a proclamation for Robert Williams.
Oh, Lord.
Call for questions.
She couldn't. She was
Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Proclamation passes by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to the approval of the minutes of October 23rd, 2018, workshop minutes.
I'll entertain a motion to accept approval of October 23rd, 2018 workshop minutes.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the approval of the October 23rd, 2018 workshop minutes. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The minutes of October 23rd, 2018, or workshop minutes, has been passed by unanimous vote. We don't have any consent agenda items. We don't have any ordinance. We do have two resolutions. First resolution is Resolution 2018-78. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing a one-year extension of the agreement with Resource Group NA for governmental consulting services. This contract allowed for the extension at one-year periods at a time at the discretion of the commission.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2018-78 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to ask that we accept Resolution 2018-78 as it has been read by our city attorney.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2018-78. Call for questions. Hearing none. Question, Commissioner Walker.
Okay. What's the purpose of that? And
That is the contract with your governmental consultants that help the city in obtaining funding for your programs in Tallahassee.
Okay. Have they help?
Yes, they have helped the city to a substantial degree over the last year in obtaining funds for the city's projects.
Okay. Because they have a concern. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I have one question. City manager, I was a little concerned of the amount we were paying this consultant. I know 2 years ago they did an excellent job. We had in excess of about $4 million. Last year it went back down to $1 million, which was pretty much standard. My concern is Tallahassee's in session only 60 days out of the year. I understand that they are constantly continuing to communicate with the legislators during the off season, but I have a real concern and problem with the amount of money, $4,000 that we're paying, and I had asked that hopefully when this contract expired that we could do some negotiation to see if we can reduce the amount that we're paying. And even though they may be contacting legislators off-season, their main work in the grit and grind of it is during the legislative session. So just wanted the status on that to see if you was able to at least sit down with them and negotiate on how did those negotiations go.
I had a conversation with Tom DeVita and Jordan Connors. They are the primary consultants for that organization. And there was no movement on that. They were steadfast with that amount based on the amount of work they put in to the city of Pahokee on a yearly basis. You're correct. Session is 60 days. But I start working with Jordan Connors and Tom DeVita August. And we worked through the committee weeks of September, October, and November. And then, of course, the heavy committee weeks starting January, February. They're there the entire time. And so it makes my job significantly easier when I sit down with the budget and policy team of the governor's office and have the accelerated conversations because they've helped me lay the groundwork. Even after session, if we do get funding, it still has to be signed by the governor. So there's more lobbying that's done beyond session until the governor actually signs the state budget. Typically, the state budget is not signed until May or June, or after May into June. So they're still there working the back channels to ensure that what we requested is in the budget, what we requested stays in the budget. Doing budget conferencing, it comes out with the numbers that we look for those projects. And then, if it stays in the budget, they're also the ones that ensure that the governor signs it at the very end. That's a 9 to 10 month process that gets us to the finish line that people don't see on a daily basis. It's critical for what they do for the city of Pahokee. Yes, you're correct. We went from 4 to 1 million in 2018 from 2017. And there were some things that happened to affect that. We had the school shooting in January of 2018, and it significantly shifted everyone's focus to school safety. And when that happened, a lot of the funding for municipalities was shifted to school funding for resource officers, et cetera, technology to boost security around the state. And that significantly affected our ability to leverage some of those other projects that we had on the list statewide. So that's not saying that we're going to jump back up and do 5 million this year. It certainly would be satisfying if we do in April 2019. But the amount of time they pour in, I think they were not willing to negotiate that price. So I didn't get any movement on that. If you want to counter offer that, I don't know how that works at this point with the contract. I feel what they're doing there is significant for the cost that they're paying them. But I will go as the commission directs.
Do they provide a breakdown of
hours.
Like attorney does.
Attorneys?
Assembler.
No, lobbyists don't do that. There are a lot of, and I'm gonna lean on the city attorney for that, because there are a lot of lobbying regulations and state statutes that govern their activity. And the city attorney will have just a bit more information on that than I will.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I'm asking that, because it's very easy to say I've gone to Alaska and back for you and just sat in my lazy boy, especially if, you know, as the mayor stated, when in considering the state, you know, the session is only 60 days. And how can we really touch and feel that outside of those 60 days, they're actually, you know, going to bat for our interests as a city?
Yeah, typically, Tallahassee lobbyists do not keep track of their hours or provide that information to their clients. What you really have to do is rely upon the people that are in contact with them to see if, in fact, they are pushing your interest on a consistent basis up in Tallahassee. So you have to really rely on that. The other thing is that you can also ask them to come and appear in front of the city and give a report on their activities once or twice during their contract year and get a feel from them about where you're going to be successful and where you're not in Tallahassee.
And to jump on what he just said, they are willing to come and give reports at any commission meeting that you feel they should appear before you. They indicated that to me. At any time you want them to show up and give you an update on what they're doing, what they will be doing, and how they operate, they're more than welcome to do that as well. They're very open to that.
I definitely would suggest we do have a report at least twice a year. If we're paying that kind of money, I would like to hear from them.
Exactly.
Understood.
Would love to have a detailed report. 4,000.
4,000 a month. Yes. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So we're going to be taking a really close look at that contract, and I'm looking and hoping that that amount can go up.
They need to bring a
I know they got a
PowerPoint.
tough job.
They need to bring a PowerPoint and.
In addition to question, commissioners.
No. I remember, I recommend, meeting with them on meeting in January, first meeting in
You want me to
January
come?
February.
January. Sure. I can have them be here.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
In addition to question, commissioners. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bat.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, commissioners. Motion passes by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to the add-on resolution, which is Resolution 2018-79. City Attorney.
This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee approving the agreement by and between the City of Pahokee and PPM Consultants, Inc. for solicitation number RFQ 21801 for the EPA Brownfields Environmental Consulting Services for environmental site assessment and testing. The city had previously received grant approval for certain brownfield work to be done within the city. This consultant is being hired to put together that program for you and to ensure that those federal monies are spent in the best fashion to help the city. And I believe the consultant is here tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
So either after or before the resolution, if we have any question at that time, we call for questions, we can ask them during that time. City Commissioners, having heard Resolution 2018-79, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to Offer a motion that we accept Resolution 2018-79, a resolution of the City Commission as it was read. I'm not going to read on that from our city attorney.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the adoption of Resolution 2018-79. Call for questions. Any questions to the consultant? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2018-79 passes by unanimous vote. We have no public hearings, no proclamations. We have one presentation. That's the Mayor Gold and Nail and Hammer Award. At this time, we'll have our city attorney, city manager, just give us a status and a brief explanation about the winner of this particular award.
Okay. A year and a half ago, we created 2 community awards. One was the Lawn of the Month. That is the best lawn in the city on a monthly basis. Of course, there are so many that I think that's a before picture that's up on the screen now. And of course, we created Mayor Babb's Gold Hammer and Nail Award. And the Mayor's Gold Hammer and Nail Award is for a homeowner that has gone beyond just maintaining the lawn, but actual structural renovations, interior, exterior, to their homes. What it does for this city, it provides us with a camaraderie of taking pride in our community, your street that you live on, and more importantly, it raises the value of that particular home and also ultimately the homes adjacent in that area. And what we're trying to create is a synergy within the entire community that everyone's proud, and we are proud already, but everyone takes significant admiration in what they do to their homes and their lawns, where we are creating, a place to live, work, and retire, and be inviting. Not saying that we're not inviting now, but we wanted to add some additional appreciation to our homeowners that go that extra mile to ensure that they're assisting us, because by renovating this home exteriorly and probably internally too, it provides us a better segue to promote the city of Pahokee. And so we just want to say thank you to those homeowners who go beyond just taking care of their lawns, but actually doing those structural innovations that make this city shine and be a beacon on the lake here in Florida. It's a wonderful home. It's on East Main Street. I'm sure most of you have driven by this home at one point, and you've seen the before pictures, and these homeowners have taken great pride to invest in their home and really bring out this area of East Main Street. It's a lovely home, and they certainly deserve this quarter reward, Mayor Babb's Gold Hammer and Nail Award. We only give this out every 90 to 120 days because we realize it takes a while for a home to be renovated, sometimes possibly longer. And so we wanted to recognize Johnny and Kernisha Terry.
Is Mr. and Mrs. Terry here?
Right.
If
Okay.
you can come up, and if the commission can come down and join me as we
And the
present
picture doesn't do it justice.
No, it doesn't. We need some close-ups.
Good job. Mr. and Mrs. Terry, On behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, as mayor, it gives me great pleasure to present the Mayor Hammond Gold Nail Award. On behalf of Vice Mayor Clara Mervin, Commissioner Diane Walker, Commissioner Benny Everett III, Commissioner Felicia Hill, our city manager Chandler Williamson, and basically our entire city staff. We know it took a lot of hard work to beautify your home and make it look the way it looked. And not only does it increase your home value, but it increases the value of surrounding home, and we thank you for that effort. And we'd like to present you with a certificate and a check, and we ask that you spend at least a portion of this check in the city of Pahokee. And I don't know how you pull this off. This check says Johnny Terry, you know. My wife takes all the checks and signs it. You know, before I get them, a check come in, she tell me she done signed it and deposited it, and don't give me any proof of it. So the check is actually in your name. I'm gonna have Commissioner Everett present the certificate, and Commissioner Hill will present the check.
The Mayor's Gold Nail and Hammer Award presented to Johnny Terry and Kernisha Terry, 890 East Main Street, Pahokee, Florida, 33476, in recognition of home renovations and beautifications presented this 11th day of December 2018. Mayor Keith W. Babb Jr. and the fellow commissioners, along with Mr. Chandler Williamson, our city manager. Again, that picture doesn't do your home justice. It looks very nice.
And ultimately, the check, just make sure, please. I know it may be a little hard, but just try to give us a little bit back here. And thank you. Thank you.
We're going to take a photo op, and then we'll allow you to say a few words if you would like.
Hold up the certificate. Yeah. That's all right. Okay. I had to buy a gold frame.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you all for recognizing our hard work that we put into the home. Actually, I was born and raised in Belglade, so when we saw this home, I told my wife, I said, I don't know what we're going to do, but it was such a lovely home when I went into it and with Mr. Law. I think his name was Law, Kenneth Law, who was the owner. And I talked with him, and he was kind of telling me the history. He was your teacher? So he was telling me the history about the home and everything, and the guy who he actually bought it from. And when we actually purchased the home, our idea was to actually create something that would be really nice. It was off the side of the road that people would drive by, and it would uplift the community. My wife and I both actually try to be low-key, but we're actually physicians. And we purchased this home, and people didn't even know we were actually born and raised right here in Belglade and in the muck. And we were actually, my wife is an ear doctor, and we bought this home and renovated it kind of under and kind of kept low key about what we were actually doing, but it was actually intentional to be coming back to our community and doing something, of creating something kind of a middle class, which is actually dwindling from our community. And so, you know, we've actually done this in South Bay, and we've actually done this in Pahokee, and we are from Belglade, and we haven't done anything in Belglade. But I thank God that you guys actually recognize that, and it is something that our kind of little secret of giving back to our community. So that is what we've done for you, community.
Thank you. This live screening, so Mayor Steve Wilson, I know you're listening. We done took another one from Belglade. We are building a community and city of choice. Thank you.
This pastor is here.
Why you got it right there?
My dad, why in the port in the
Again, Mr. and Mrs. Terry, congratulations on that award. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now we're moving to the mayor's report. This is the last commission meeting of the year. We won't be having a commission meeting on December the 25th, so the mayor report may be just a tap long, not too long, but longer than usual. I'm gonna start off with my concerns, and there are minimum. One of the concerns is directed to the city manager. We haven't been receiving on a regular basis financial report. I think we have requested at least at a minimum quarterly. As mayor and representing this commission, I would like to now ask that you produce on a monthly basis at a minimum financial report so this commission can have to review. Second concern, we haven't been introduced to newly hired staff, which is called by the personnel policy manual, and we are not notified, and this is not interfering with day-to-day, but at a minimum, we need to be notified when the staff is no longer working with the city, and the reason, whether the person resigned, it was terminated for some reason or not, so we can be aware of that. So we're asking when new staff is hired, that within the first 2 weeks of their hiring, we should be having a commission meeting. That very next commission meeting, they should be formally brought here and introduced so this commission can welcome them and we know who we have working with the city of Pahokee. Okay, those are just two of the concerns. Now for the good news. I know there's a lot of complaint, and it's rightfully so sometimes, but I just want to reiterate that this commission have had a tremendous success during the last 3 years. I've been here, and I hate to say it, especially during election time, because being a long-term commission sometimes can be a disadvantage. People think you're kind of washed up and need to go away. But if you're producing, that's the main thing. And hopefully you can be reelected if you get some results.
You will be.
I think we do have results. And that's what we're portraying our record over the last 3 years. I'm not going to make this a political speech, but if you look at the record of the two persons, just look what they have done for 3 years, the last 3 years they was in office, and just compare what this commission have done over the last 3 years. I think the city is in excellent condition. It's strong, it's getting vibrant. We have a lot of projects on the table. I mean, millions of dollars, and I say this a lot. During the last 3 years, we have secured over $15 million. You know, some people call us a third world country, but if we were, we'll be dancing in the street and celebrating those success. Not saying we don't have challenges. We're going to continue to have challenges. We have a challenge of housing, the lack of adequate affordable housing in Pahokee. That's going to be a priority in 2019. The city has been in some conversation with the county and other private entities about housing, and we're comfortable that next year you will see some new development of housing in Pahokee. The second major concern is to attract new businesses. We're going to have to work with LORE, the Business Development Board, and Palm Beach County and the Chamber of Commerce to devise a plan to help attract businesses. And that's not going to be an easy task, but I think that we have laid a solid foundation to doing that. And part of that foundation has been improving our infrastructure. You know, businesses look at the size of the community, the income of the community. When people look at whether or not they're going to start a business in your community, they want to make sure they're successful. So a lot of this is not so much that the city commission haven't tried, but I think if we don't succeed in that, we will be somewhat of a failure in that department. So that's going to be the number 2 priority. And the number 3 priority would be to create jobs for our residents, you know. We can have housing. If they don't have adequate, good-paying jobs, then they're not going to afford the housing. And we want to help grow our community. So if we can continue to improve our infrastructure, make our community safe and clean, get some affordable housing in, get some jobs in here, I think the city manager has that charge, and I think he has a plan along with this commission. And we got to continue to work together. Not saying that we're not going to agree with everything. We are going to have some disagreement, but we're going to have to continue to work as a unit, you know, and sell the ideal of building a community and city of choice. And that's what we want. And we have an example of that. We got the doctor coming over here, purchasing a house, fixing it up. That was by choice. So he saw something in Pahokee that gave him that real hope to saying, this is a community that's worth investing in. So we're going to continue to do that. But I'm going to just briefly mention, and I know some of you all may be a little tired of hearing it, but I'm not. The marina, $1.2 million. It's a beautiful marina, almost a state-of-the-art marina. Has lots more work to do, but we're getting there. We got another $1 million on the way to continue those improvements at that marina. I think any owner or any operator would be proud to take that under their control and really make a great and fantastic business. We spent $599,000 demolishing the old water plant. That property now is really shovel-ready for a new business to come in, whether a hotel or some type of shopping center or whatever it may be. We're spending $635,000 on Glade Citizen Village doing the storm water improvement. A couple years ago, that's just unheard of for Pahokee. I mean, we didn't even know what storm water improvement was. It's because when it rained in hurricane, it floods a lot of areas. So we're doing something none of the other administration has been able to do. So I just want to just bring that out to the forefront. Commissioner Park, over $500,000 spent there. It's a beautiful park. We're spending it for our children so they can have a nice place to play, have amenities. We have a new tennis court, new basketball court, new playground equipment. We done renovated the spray park. There's a lot to be excited about in Pahokee. It's Christmas time, and I want everybody to buy into it and be excited about it. Again, it's the beginning. That's the foundation. I think in the next 3 years, this community is gonna flourish, but we need everybody buying into it because the negativity we get, it goes out on Facebook. Investors look at that and saying the community is not always satisfied. You know, why would I come in and invest? I'm not saying you can't complain. That's not what I'm saying. You should complain when we're not doing what we're doing. You should hold us accountable, which we should, and we're going to continue to be accountable to you. We spent $100,000 just on Old Polk High School, just the exterior, painted, putting windows in, doing landscaping. And one thing, city manager, I would like to request, and I think I've mentioned it before, we need a flag there. We need a flagpole and a flag. And as an option, maybe we can take the flagpole from the old fire station and put there if we don't have the funds to buy a new one. But I know you're able to find the money there to do that. And I'd like to see it lit up at night so we don't have to worry about staff having to take the flag up and down. $4.6 million for Barfield Highway, total reconstruction. The state is doing it. We secured the money from the legislator. We spent $3.5 million on East Main Street, total reconstruction by the school. I mean, we're doing some marvelous things, some fantastic things. And I think you can compare what we have done in the last 3 years with a lot of larger cities probably haven't had the success we had. So we're going to put that out, continue to put that out, and run on our record. One shortcoming, and I think we are doing great on this, we are a transparent city. We have live streaming. We're probably one of the first one in the Glade. I think South Bay now have came online. I'm not sure if Belle Glade is there yet. but we're one of the few cities that our citizens don't have to actually physically come to a city commission meeting to really know what we're doing. But I think we need to be even a little more transparent. I think what I'm hearing is a lot of residents want to know some of the finance of the city. So that should be online. I would like in 2019 for us to be an open city online, that for anything or mostly anything that the citizen is inquiring about, they can find it online. I think we can get there, and I think we're going to move to that. So we want to be accountable to you. We want to be transparent, and we're going to continue to work hard for this city. We are going to build the city of choice, where our children will no longer want to escape from, but rather escape to, even when they move somewhere else. When they have that break, we'll come back to Pahokee, and we're proud to call Pahokee home. And that's the conclusion of my mayor's report. At this time, we'll have the, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did forget to mention that. We're gonna be having a rededication, re-grand opening of Commissioner Park, and a unveiling of the Ricky Jackson entryway welcome sign. That's gonna be Friday at 10, basically from 10 to 11 o'clock. So we're asking you to come out. Ricky's planning on bringing, he's invited all the Hall of Famers in the state of Florida. I don't know how many are gonna show up, but they're having a large golf tournament that day. So we're expecting a lot of guests to come to Pahokee. We want to showcase Pahokee. We're having it at our beautiful renovated Commissioner Park. We'll have some light refreshments, so we're just looking forward to that. Make sure I didn't mention anything. Again, I want to congratulate our fellow Commissioner Benny Everett for being selected one of the Project 12 2019 Calendar and Resource Guide recipient. That guide highlight African American men that doing positive things in their community, and they only select 12 a year. So that's the 5th edition of Palm Beach County. If you don't have a calendar, please purchase one. Benny got a real handsome picture there, looking better than me and Town in his dress. And also the citizen at Glaze Citizen Village has requested playground equipment as being part of their renovation. I hope that we can kind of fit that into their budget. Those are all homes out there. They pay tax dollars, and not saying they the only one deserve a park, but since we are doing renovation, if we can find some funding challenge to provide some playground equipment, because they live a little distant from Martin Luther King and Commissioner Park. So let's see if we can get something for that area.
Mr. Mayor, not
Yes,
to
sir.
interrupt your report, my memory served me correctly. I thought that they wrote a grant for playground equipment for a sum total, I believe, $4,000. I think it was a REAP grant. And was
So
that
maybe
for
we can even supplement that. I don't know where those funds
Monica
are.
Brown.
Yeah, Monica Brown.
Okay.
Is that true?
We received $5,000 from the REAP grant. The average cost for playground equipment is $30,000.
I would say 28.
So right now, before we do anything in that area, the problem with that still specific area there is still susceptible to flooding. They didn't fix that area. They fixed the community streets. That area is typically under 2 feet of water. So the city has to go back with some surtax dollars and grade that down and then build it back up before we think about equipment. But the average cost of the equipment is about $30,000. The equipment we replaced at MLK, that was about $35,000, and that was just for that centerpiece. It's really, really expensive, but it's a project that we're going to take on in our surtax for sure. We do have some dollars for it, but we got to do some environmental things there first and that's separate from the $635,000 stormwater improvement. It wasn't for the park area, but we're gonna come back, and that's on the city to finish that project.
And I know that flooding, and that's a major issue out there, because I know someone who, that's been a delay and an impasse with their home renovation because of that below sea level dynamic and issue.
And the conclusion of my report is that we have several major projects coming online. We have the gymnasium project, which is $800,000. The county has already put in $1.2 million. So that's a nearly $2 million project there. So within a short time, hopefully, that gymnasium will be up and running and operating. We're going to be seeking some additional funds for the bottom portion of the gym, so we can do weight training and changing of uniform and things like that, even classroom. Again, I think Chandler mentioned earlier, MLK Park will undergo a $725,000 renovation, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's
Eastlake Village. I'm sorry, Eastlake Village will be doing also stormwater improvement there. We're gonna do some renovation at MLK Park, and then we got a $800,000 football field coming. And I know a lot of you all think sometimes that's a lot, but that's an investment in our children. With that and the gym and the parks, we have put a lot of resources in making sure that our children have adequate amenities in the city of Pahokee. Belglade is getting a $3.5 million field, but it was paid for through the Orange Bowl Foundation. Unfortunately, we didn't have the opportunity to have that, so we're doing it ourselves with surtax dollars. We have the funding to do it. The field should be paid off in 5 years, so I think it's a great investment for our children. So thank you. That's a conclusion of the mayor's report. City attorney, city manager, I keep saying city attorney. Chandler talk like a attorney sometimes. I'm getting them a little confused. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Citizens, thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for joining us. The mayor took all of my steam out of my report, he's being modest. One famous president used to say, "You get into the silly season sometimes." Sometimes we get into the silly season of politics, and as a city manager, one thing that they train us to do is not delve into politics. It's a no-no for us. We have to be administrators. But you're not tooting your horn loud enough tonight for this community, and so I got to toot it a little louder for you. This commission, this leadership apparatus that you see here, in the last 24 months, has been able to virtually support and assist this administration in changing the conversation about Pahokee. When you look at the amount of money in projects that we have either received, ongoing, or is completed at this stage, it is a significant amount of money ever coming into the city of Pahokee for projects and amenities. That's a fact check, as my commissioner ever would want me to tell you. I can't find any other era in the history of the city of Pahokee that you brought in that amount of legislative funding and grant money in a 24-month period. You won't find it. You can search it, you can research it, you can talk to former mayors. They can't stand on that. Not taken away from all our former mayors, but this leadership that you have here has been steadfast in looking forward. And you can see it. You can see it in the projects. You can see it in how we are looked upon from our partners, from our sister cities. You can hear it in the voices of folks that they don't live in Pahokee. There are folks that grew up here, and I talk to some of my staff who know relatives, and they go, they'll come visit, and what happened here? it looks nothing like it looked when I left. We're a cleaner city. I think we're a more vibrant city. We have been able to provide an outlook for the city of Pahokee that says we're not where we were 3 years ago. We're not. And where we're going is far away from where we've been for the last 25 years. And I had to go and kind of do my own research and look at what we've been able to change in the city of Pahokee for the last 25 years. And I had to take out the Marina because Marina was subjected to several hurricanes and federal funding. Mayor, what you've been able to do for the last 24 months is short of, I used the word at the Lord today, magnificent. If you look at the projects, if you really take a moment to look at every project that he mentioned tonight, just drive around this city. Go to the Marina. Go to Glaze Citizens Villa. Go to Commissioner's Park. Go visit our classrooms. Look at the old Pahokee High School. Look at the two projects that will be coming online in the next 60 to 120 days. The football field, the gymnasium. Look at the grant money for a new transportational bus, sports equipment, demolition. That was another grant, Solid Waste Authority. Add all of that up. You're right at about between $13 and $15 million in 24 months. Now, I'm not tooting your own horn, Mayor, and I'm not. This is an effort from Lieutenant Piccolo and law enforcement, Vice Mayor Mervin, Commissioner Everett, Commissioner Walker, yourself, Commissioner Hill, the city attorney, and most important, our external partners. And that's the county. Melissa McKinley, her office has worked tirelessly to ensure that when we go to Tallahassee, she's right there with us, promoting that message for the Glades overall. We have, our citizens that support us. They're doing their part. You can see that tonight. They're maintaining their homes. This is a team effort to move this city forward. And for 2 years, we've been strategically putting things in place, be it looking at our amenities, fixing our streets, or just the messaging that is coming from this leadership that you see here. Messaging is important because it's your brand. And Mayor, almost 4 years ago, when you interviewed me, one of the first things I said, and you can remember this, Commissioner Hill, I said we had a branding problem, and we had to fix it. And that started with relationships. It started with relationships with our sister cities, with the county, with Tallahassee, and with the federal government. And it's bearing fruit. And it's bearing fruit in a large way over the last 24 months. So when you hear those, when you get that misinformation, try to fact check it. Go to the source where you can get the actual truth from, so we can avoid those pitfalls of that social media puts out there to us. And I said it once and I'm gonna say it again. If it wasn't for social media, we wouldn't have any bad news in Pahokee at all, and I'm gonna stick to it. But that's not where we are now. We have grown significantly. Do we have more growth to do, Mayor, Commission? We certainly do. We still need housing. We still need housing. We certainly can deserve, 200 jobs here in Pahokee. We certainly can, deserve more streets to be resurfaced and repaired. But we are not where we were 3 years ago. And I don't want to go back there. And I don't think anyone in this city wants to go backwards. And so I tell my directors, mayor, commission, community, I need forward thinkers working with me on this team. I need you to forward think 6 months out about today. If you can forward think 6 months out about today, we are so many more light years ahead of our own strategy and vision that we have for Pahokee. And so all of these projects that we've been able to bring into the city of Pahokee, fund them, bring them online, and complete them. You can see it. I hear it all the time. Well, nothing's going on in Pahokee. Take a moment and drive around your city and look very intricately at those projects. Look very closely. Go to the marina. We've done some great stuff there. We finally got the granite top into the tiki bar on yesterday, and it looks wonderful. I sorry didn't have it for Tri-Cities barbecue. But, you know, we're preparing that marina for, you know, a carrier that can come in and really change the conversation about economic development, not just for the marina and their personal gratification, but for the city of Pahokee on the other side of the dike. We sit in a wonderful community on Lake Okeechobee, one of the best. One of the best. No one has the view that we have in the city of Pahokee. And so, Mayor, you're not tooting your horn loud enough. This commission, Commissioner Everett, Vice Mayor, Commissioner Walker, Commissioner Hill, the support that you and the guidance that you've given over these last year, 2 years, has been nothing short of magnificent. Have there been some struggles? Yes. Have we gotten everything right? Of course not. But our successes supersede some of the small stuff. And we know that we can get into the weeds of the small stuff here in the city of Pahokee. And I'm not going to wallow in that. I have to set and position myself on the successes that we have today, the successes that are ongoing, and the successes that we expect to receive from our hard work. And so, Mayor, we have another legislative session coming up in 2019, and we're looking forward to it. We hope that we have no other extended issues that will affect funding for municipalities, certainly for the ones in the Glades, Belglade, and South Bay. We need funding. If you look at Palm Beach County, and you look at other cities in Palm Beach County, we've gotten the short end of the stick. We drive to other cities, we shop in other cities, and those amenities are not apparent here in the Glades, and it's unfair. And it's no one's fault, really, because we can't point fingers. We just got to get to work and continue working and continue raising the awareness of who we are and where we are and the value of being on Lake Okeechobee. There's no better place to be, I think, in Palm Beach County than in a rich, vibrant city like Pahokee. As some say, this is a gold mine, and it really is. It really is. But we have to be vigilant. We have to be very intelligent about what our goals are, and we have to be smart of how we approach those goals. And also, we have to avoid the pitfalls. I could easily point a lot of fingers. I can't do that as your administrator. I just have to continue working. Mayor, we take a lot of criticism, and we bear it. I wear it significantly. But I have to stay focused for the citizens of this community. They deserve that. They deserve professionalism. They deserve accountability. They deserve quantity and quality work from this administration. We don't always get it right. Sometimes I need to be pulled into the back room and had a conversation with sometimes, and that's okay. But if I rubbed someone the wrong way over the last 2 years on the way to these successes, hey, I apologize, because I have your best interests at heart. If I didn't return your phone calls on time, I apologize. I probably was in another meeting. If I didn't get back with you at a time when you thought it was important for me to get back with you, it's not with malice that we didn't contact you. We're working very hard here in the city of Pahokee for you on your behalf to make this a community and city of choice. A slogan I bought here in 2015, a slogan I'm still sticking with in 2019 and beyond if I'm allowed to be here. And I believe that we are on the move in the right direction. And I want to personally, after a long year, thank Mayor Babb, thank Vice Mayor Mervin for their hard work and leadership, and of course the rest of the commission, Commissioner Everett. He's new to the dais, but he's certainly come with a lot of firepower behind what he expects us to do in this city, and it's deserving. We need that fresh look and reminder of where we need to be going. Commissioner Walker, you know, a senior member here on this dais, will be leaving us in March. I appreciate all of your support of this administration. Lieutenant, thank you for your diligence in this community. I know it's not easy. City Attorney, we're in a good place as far as our relationship and what he's been able to, you know, he's taught me a couple of things as a city manager, and I don't talk about that often. But you know, I'm not going to be long-winded. I just want to say that this has been a great year, a great 24 months, and I look forward to 2019 in making this city even better for all of our residents and all of our investors who want to come and be a part of what I think is something very special that's happening in the city of Pahokee. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
I'm sorry, I'm not finished. About 60 plus days ago, we had an incident at Parks and Recreation, and that incident led to the city's after-school program, one of them that's funded, losing some of its funding, upwards of about $53,000. And what we were able to do is first go back to the funding agency, which is Early Learning Coalition. Me and the city attorney requested a hearing so we can present some facts and some preventive measures that we put in place to ensure that this type of incident would not occur again. And let me just list some of the things that we have done here post-incident. Parks and recreational staff have all been recertified in transportation safety and facilities. Director and assistant director are scheduled for Palm Beach Health Department follow-up training hosted annually in January. Parks and recreational staff will receive a monthly review of driving privileges via human resources. Typically, you don't look at someone's driver's license ongoing after you hire them. We're going to go from a quarterly or 6-month review to a 30-day review for anybody who drives a vehicle in the city of Pahokee. Human Resources Manager reviewed with the department director and staff the risk assessment and practices for aftercare. Director of Parks and Recreation confirmed as of last week that we have passed all of our K-5 and middle school inspections, meaning we've passed recertification. So we have not lost any of our certifications to host after-school care. It's just the funding for this particular program was terminated until we can have a hearing in January on reinstatement. In addition to that, the part-time staff that was involved in that incident is no longer with the city of Pahokee. Unfortunately, we had to do some personnel protocols for this type of incident, so that person was relieved of their duties. One particular staff was transitioned from one part of the department to another, and we yes, and some of the program participants in that program were shifted to other programs. Some parents opted to take their kids to the middle school until that program is back online. And that is the preventive measures that we've taken place, Commission. We feel that in January that based on all of the activity that we've been able, all of the actions that we've done post-incident, that we'll be able to get that funding reinstated. The great thing about it, we didn't have to lay anyone off. We were able to shift our interdepartmental budgets to ensure that our staff is still paid and no staff is laid off. That was critical. But what's more important is getting the staff to understand, transportation safety. I take it very personal when a child is left sleeping on a bus. And if I can indulge you for 5 more minutes, Mayor, I'll be quiet. The reason why is because in 2006, I was the gentleman that was working in the Florida Senate that rewrote the legislation on increasing the penalties of childs being left in vehicles unattended. And we were very successful in 2006 in passing that legislation and increasing the penalties for such misdemeanors. And it was very contentious because the argument at that time between the House and the Florida Senate is, why would you punish a parent or a caretaker in such, a sensitive time if the child loses their life but they're injured? Well, we wanted to bring awareness to the importance of knowing where your children are when you're driving in a vehicle and when you get out of a car. And so we created this campaign called Look Before You Lock. We have a video that created, we had this really nice, that's when Pixels was really getting popular in movies. And so we created this Pixel movie 30-second video indicating, the failures of what happens when a child is left in a vehicle in a hot car. And so I take it personally because I was the individual writing that legislation, that year and got it passed with the Florida Senate. So I take this personally, and I want to ensure that it never happens again to any child that we have here in the city of Pahokee. And so we've taken, I think, the preventive measures significantly to address it, and also in working with our staff to make them more aware of what their protocols are at the end of the day. And one thing I didn't mention is we have changed, our closeout protocols at the end of the day for locking our vehicles, be it vans or our transportation buses. So we're doing our due diligence. It's unfortunate that incident occurred. I've spoken with the father. He works for us here in the city of Pahokee, and we want to continue giving them all our support to ensure that they are comfortable here and how we facilitate our programs here in the city of Pahokee. But myself and the city attorney will provide an update at the January 3rd hearing with Early Learning Coalition, which is subsequently funded by the Children's Service Council of Palm Beach County.
City Manager, for the sake of transparency and being devil advocate, one of the major charges for the city of Pahokee was the lack of reporting the incident. What was the breakdown there, and why wasn't it properly reported to the authorities that this incident occurred? That was one of the main reasons they say they pulled the funding, in addition to the child being left, but that really stuck out, the lack of reporting.
That incident happened while we were sitting here in a commission meeting. It was at night, and the director wasn't on site. I actually texted him that night and said, "Are you aware of this incident?" It was about 10:30, and of course he said, "Heard about it, I don't know, but 8 a.m. in the morning we'll start our review and our investigation." Once that occurred, by the time he got into work the next day, we had not called officially, but someone else had already called officially on our behalf, unbeknownst to us. The director of the department had dived into the immediate investigation because we really couldn't say anything at that time because he didn't know about what happened. So he had to first get the staff, get all the reports, gather reports before he report to an agency, because we didn't want to give misinformation. Now, they're saying that we should have just been called and told and the investigation continue, and that was our error in that respect. We should have just at least called 8 a.m. the next morning as the investigation started. And so that was the timing of it was not appropriate at the time for the staff. They should have called that very next morning and indicated, this is an incident, we're investigating, we'll give you a report. And instead, we started doing the report before we actually called. So that was one of the findings that they had.
And my last question, as a preventive measure, and I'm not sure if the technology out there, I believe it is, it may be expensive, I'm not sure. Could we provide some type of sensors on those vehicles, those that transport children?
It's already there.
So we got
there
a
was
sensor
not
that when we
the
have
practice that night
in the
did
vehicle,
not the practice. It's already there.
Mm-hmm.
It's already installed on the vehicles. It was not practiced that night by that staff.
Yes.
The technology is installed currently. It was not practiced properly at night.
But as a city, we were still negligent in that we did not report as you
Oh,
stated after.
we didn't, no, we didn't
man-
report immediately that morning. Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. And we
that
addressed
is-
that.
And that was the major highlight or question from the news bit that I saw
Well,
on News 12.
Unfortunately, they had part of the story right because there were other findings as well. That was one of the major findings, and that's what they focused on. There were several others, like the log that wasn't properly filled out, and of course the reporting as well as an accurate certificate of driving for the particular individual and how we review, driving privileges. So there were several actually major things that were found, but the media focused just on that particular finding. It doesn't make any other finding worse or better. We got to clean it up. We got to go back and ensure that our protocols are in place and that staff understands what their protocols are, getting on a vehicle, exiting a vehicle, close out at the end of the night, filling out the logs, and ensuring that no child is left sleeping on the van. We were very fortunate. The weather has shifted significantly in October. It was at night, so we were very lucky. We were very lucky. I wrote that legislation in 2006 specifically intended for hot days because that's when kids die. So we were very lucky. But we feel that we put enough things in place, Mayor, Commission, that this will never happen again. And we're going to take our preventive measures to that hearing, and hopefully we'll be able to sustain or reattain that funding.
Thank you.
So how was the director of the program effective? I'm effective, not effective, effective.
Basically, asking is the director had any accountability of what occurred,
Exactly.
and was that person disciplined in any manner?
Exactly.
Well, Mr. Pinckney at that time is in his probation, just got hired as the new director in the probationary period, and I'm glad it's happening in the probationary period because in the probationary period gives me an opportunity to sit down and review his performance as we get him out of his first 90 to 120 days of probation. And so we had that conversation. There was a verbal discussion, and then there was also a written discussion on what we need to do moving forward to make changes in the department as the new director. And so that's where he is today. He's out of probation as of this week, and but there was a verbal counseling of what he needs to do as a director moving forward and what his responsibilities are if such any type of incident, which we hope never happens again, but his first responsibility is the very next day and his responsibilities to the county in reporting.
Okay, the reason I asked you that question because the director was fired and he wasn't on vacation when the incident happened. So I just want to know,
Previous directors?
Yes.
Oh.
Not
Now.
this.
Yes, ma'am.
Not this one.
Right.
But I'm just letting you know what happened and how it happened, so you don't somebody's subjected to that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, City Manager. Now we have the City Attorney report.
We had a case today.
Mayor, Commissioners, a very long report tonight.
I'm sorry.
That'll be 3 in a row here.
I just wanted to thank you all for letting me be your counsel for another year. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, City Attorney. It's been challenging long-winded tonight. I'm gonna blame it on him. Now we'll have, Old business, I think we took care of the marina, but any highlights from that, we'll need to,
Did we do a resolution to cancel the 25th?
No, not yet. Need a motion to cancel the 25th meeting?
Oh,
that was gonna be on new business, but we'll do it now.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. That's okay, we'll take care of it now. I entertain a motion to cancel the December 25th meeting unless we wanna meet on Christmas.
Exactly.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer a motion that we cancel our December 25th meeting for this month.
Say Tuesday.
Tuesday, December 25th, 2018.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by a tie between Vice Mayor Mervin and Commissioner Hill that we cancel the December 25th meeting. Call for question. Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioner. The December 25th, 2018 meeting has been canceled by a unanimous vote. Now we'll move to old business. I think we'll take care of most of the marina project updates. But if you have anything to add, City Manager, we added that on to new business, old business, because we want that to be a continuation where the public have an opportunity to fill out a comment card in relation to our agenda. So that's gonna be an ongoing topic. If you have anything to add for the marina update project?
Nothing new. I know I think I mentioned the 4 docks that we reconnected the sewer lines. We got the engines going in starting tomorrow, the next couple of days. I was in communication with DEP as of today. They received their report. Once we get the engines in, we still got that pipe to fix that's connected as well at the right of way that we're now responsible for fixing. And then once we get that done, we're going to do some testing with DEP on site for those first 4 docks, because the last 2 docks, Lincoln has capped those off. There's some significant work that needs to be done there. DEP is also aware of that as well. So they want to see the operation of the 4 docks fully once we are done. And I sent them an email update today. And once we get those things repaired, they want to come out and see some testing of those 4 docks.
So during the test is actually an inspection to it that's gonna be totally separate.
They're looking to see if it operates,
Okay.
and make sure it operates fully. And so we just gotta wait until those engines are installed. Of course, we got the pipe that connects to the sewer out in the parking lot that we thought it was a county issue, but it's actually a city issue. And so we're just waiting on a quote for that and fix that, and have Lincoln Marine come out and test for DEP for those first 4 docks. And if that's satisfactory, they'll be making their recommendations moving forward.
And I know
and that's separate from the 3 leases.
There have been a lot of concern about the restrooms not being up to standards. What's the situation on that? Have you?
The restrooms are missing. When they gutted it out and renovated it, we're missing the seating bench for the handicap and some railing, and we got that on order.
Any question from the commission?
Yes. I want to say this, since we're on this subject with regards to the marina. I'm just at a high point of frustration because there has been a lot of finger pointing. He say, she say, they say. Night is still silent with regards to her commentary. And I've said to a colleague, I've also said it to the city manager, what I think really needs to happen is that we need a special workshop, because I was very disappointed, and I'm trying to respect individuals' privacy without name calling, but I was very disappointed with a video that we had to resort to that mean or medium to to discuss what I feel like is official city business. And I just think that we need a special workshop and invite Mr. Robert Lambert in and have him sit, just like we had our city manager and our finance director sit, and let's address issues. Not personalities, not egos and all of that. Let's address the issues. Because I think there's some things that are still left cloudy with regards to the whole subject of the water bill, with regards to projects being done up there, who paid for what, and all of that kind of stuff. I think a lot of issues need to be addressed because the finger pointing or the I gotcha moments need to cease. And I think we just need to address those questions. We need to address those concerns surrounding the project, because it's not about the city manager. It's not about the potential investor. It's about the city of Pahokee and getting her posture for potential economic development. And I think that workshop is very much needed. It needs to be agenda driven. And we need to attack those issues that have been brought up and correct any misnomers. And regardless of who's on the side of wrong or right, they need to be addressed. If we were derelict in our responsibilities as a city, we need to own those, grow from them, and move forward. If there were some misnomers mentioned on the potential investors end, all of those things need to be addressed because I'm at a high point of frustration with regards to that. And I think our city is due, the residents is due a more clearer level of transparency. We say we're transparent, but in some respects, I think we can, as even Mayor alluded to, we can be a whole lot better in that. So I think we need that special workshop in here. It needs to be recorded. We need to have, everything need to be working. Minutes need to be taken. And we need to communicate with a high level of veracity, honesty, integrity, because our citizens depend on us, not the potential investor, us, commissioners, along with the individual that we hired to handle the day-to-day operations, to present them with truth and facts. And so we need to just set this stuff to rest because I think there's been some issues of semantics, some play of the words, and we just need to address these issues head on. And like I said, I'm gonna say it again, if we have fallen short, let's own it. Let's pick ourselves up, grow from it. But understand, there's about 10,000 folk in this city, both in city limits and out, that depend on us to fight for their interests. And I think we need to take action on that and put a date to this special workshop ASAP. Because, we need to set this to rest. Because I was very disappointed. And I have, respect. Don't have to eat dinner with you, but I have respect for those two individuals, but I was very disappointed that we had to result to that, because if you're going to accuse, I think we need to have all parties at the table and we have productive conversation in the open in an official meeting.
Okay, if it's the majority of the commission pleasure, I would suggest that we would have a workshop on the 18th. That would give us a week to plan, to get all parties together, outline the agenda, and move forward from there. But we will.
Of December?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. A week from today, December the 18th, next Tuesday.
Something that affects the community? This isn't a personal thing. The closer you get to Christmas, the more people in this community you're going to have in church programs, school programs, business events, different. I don't think you need to.
I think it needs to be after Christmas.
I think
If it's done after New Year's, honestly.
Okay. I was doing it because the commissioner felt an urgency, but if he's comfortable with that in majority, I agree.
Let me
I
go on the
agree.
record. I'm just stating my personal position and stance, and ASAP don't mean tomorrow. It does not mean the 18th, but ASAP does mean as soon as possible, as is humanly possible. So I don't want anybody thinking I'm Adolf Hitler.
Okay, let's do it in January then.
January the 8th.
After January.
January the 8th.
Okay, that would mean we'll have back-to-back meetings January the 8th and the 9th, which is not a problem.
January 8th is commission.
Oh,
That's a commission meeting night,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
7.
7th.
Unless we do it on that
Ninth.
Monday, the
Let's do it on
7th.
the Monday.
So we have 2 meetings back-to-back. Okay,
We've done that for them.
somebody has to put it in motion, but the meeting, we'll have on the 7th at 6 o'clock, and our regular commission meeting and workshop at 6 on the 8th.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer motion that we have a special workshop on January the 7th, 2019, with regards to marina projects and concerns, specific only to the marina project and concerns surrounding it.
Okay.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin that we have a special workshop meeting on January the 7th
6 o'clock.
at 6 o'clock,
Amending the
6
motion.
p.m. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bowden.
Yes. And speaking of meeting, Commissioner Everett, I know at our previous meeting, we had suggested and recommended a retreat. I just want to make sure that we're comfortable with that and don't want to rethink it. The reason I'm saying, Commissioner Walker, I know she got 3 months and she wanted to put all her time in, but this is going to be a new commission seat. We got 2 others commission seats that's being challenged. So we could possibly have 3 new commissioners, possibly. So I advocated at the last time prior to your election that I just felt it would be appropriate to include the newly elected, if there are any, because everything changes and what we discussed at that retreat won't hold water, to be honest. You know, if we maintain the same group, it would. But it could be totally different. The majority of us could be different. So I'm just asking for reconsideration that maybe we would have that retreat and still you'd be able to address some of your issues, either one-on-one or some kind of meeting, but maybe not a lengthy retreat. That's up to consideration. I'm just throwing it out.
Well, once again, I'm just one commissioner who stated his position. And I don't want it to be mistaken that I'm trying to enforce my position on anyone, but I do know that it's needed. And wisdom with your tenure is speaking that maybe we need to postpone it, but I do know what is needed is that special workshop with regards to the marina. Now, we made a decision. I do believe, if my memory serves me correctly, we voted on it.
Right.
So if we're going to put a motion on the floor to suspend the workshop, then by all means, the retreat would have you. Then let's do it. But I'm glad that my colleagues were in agreement with our need to have this special workshop with regards to the marina and concerns. So, Mr. Mayor.
I entertain a motion, if it's desired, the majority of the commission to suspend the retreat workshop to after the March election.
Just the retreat?
Just the retreat.
Yes.
The workshop is
Well,
fine.
let me say, I have concerns during my tenure. I have concerns, and I feel like my concern will be effective.
Okay.
And so you will have a one day workshop with me. Cause I got some concern that I need addressed.
But honest, if we can maintain meeting decorum, with respect to to Commissioner Mervin, we did have a motion on the floor that needed to be second and carried out.
We did that for the workshop. It was
Did we-
second and
did
voted
we
on and
suspend it?
passed by. Oh, you're talking about the
The
suspension of the
the
retreat?
retreat.
Right.
Was
Okay.
there not a motion?
Yes, we'll call for question during that time, so
I
you can put
didn't,
in.
I thought we had,
Yeah. I think our only concern is she's gonna need a one-on-one or some type of meeting with the city manager to iron out some of her concern, even if we do cancel the retreat.
Yeah.
So, we have a second,
Who made the motion?
Commissioner.
No, I didn't.
I don't think the
I didn't
motion was
make-
made as a yet to
For what?
suspend. It was only
You want made a
made
motion,
just for the
Oh,
workshop.
Okay,
So we need
okay.
to make a
So
motion
if
to
it's the
suspend.
commissioner's desire, I would entertain a motion from one of the commission to suspend the retreat that was scheduled. We're not gonna cancel, we're just gonna postpone it to after, some date after the election. Could I receive that motion?
Yes,
okay, go ahead.
go ahead, Commissioner Hill.
We're gonna ask a question during the time, but I don't know if it's a question or a motion.
Okay, we just make, well, I'd like to make a motion to, not suspend, but, reschedule or postpone the, retreat
Okay,
to a later date.
okay, great.
All right.
It has been moved by Commissioner Hill and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin that we postpone the retreat that was scheduled to a later date sometime after the March 2019 election. Call for questions.
Yeah.
That's from the dais. Questions from the
It's
dais.
just, it's just a statement.
Questions
It's not
from
a
the-
question.
We're in deliberation now.
Question
I
from the
mean, yeah.
dais.
Yeah, so, okay, so once it's canceled, Commissioner Walker, so are we set the date for, she's gonna set the date that she's gonna need to meet, or how you gonna do that?
That, I think she wants to meet with me. I can work a date out with her individually for.
Are you
No,
asking for?
I would like to, a meeting, opportunity to share my concern with the commission, but,
She want
and I
everybody.
would like to have them with during my tenure.
Okay, we can go on record of doing that by doing your commission comments, whatever meeting you so choose. Just lay out all of your concerns.
During a
If
meeting?
that, yeah, we'll make
That's-
sure
okay.
you have the opportunity to do that.
Okay.
If I could
Mhm.
offer a suggestion, we are meeting on the 7th to speak specific to issues regarding the marina. So can we on January the 8th, possibly, this is just me
Mhm.
throwing this out, and there's 4 other
That's a-
colleagues.
that's
Can
a-
we use
Yes,
that workshop
I can work
before
that in.
the meeting as to address commissioner concerns?
Sure.
And that can be the subject of our January the 8th workshop before our meeting.
Absolutely.
I just hope we don't handcuff it to 30 minutes.
Well, we would have to suggest meeting maybe at 5:30 to give us at least an hour. I mean, the meeting is scheduled, the regular commission meeting is scheduled for 6:30, so we don't want
We
to
can amend some
postpone
time.
that.
We can amend times. When I served, and this is just me, and I'm not making it about me, but when I served as student representative for the Palm Beach County School District my 12th grade year, I would attend a school board meeting that began at 5 o'clock. And it probably would end at 9, and our board packets at that time, and I was afforded that board packet was that thick. So if we have to be here, and I'm not trying to impose on anybody because I don't have to say, hello, honey, I'm home. I mean, if we got to stay an hour and a half in a workshop to address, I don't want to minimize anyone's concerns because I do have some that I would like to share. I wouldn't want to minimize anyone's concerns to
Okay,
30 minutes.
if time is a factor, we say we can meet 5:30, we can push it back to 5, and that would give us an hour and a half. I don't want to inconvene staff and the public too much. We can meet earlier and we still accomplish the same thing. 5 o'clock.
I think we can reach the public if you don't let everybody get all they want to say out. My recommendation would be, don't give up your 11th yet. Make sure you accomplish on the 7th what you want to accomplish, and then postpone it if you've accomplished it on the 8th.
Okay.
The
So,
seventh meeting, colleagues, is specific to the marina and concerns. January the 8th is going to be specific to commissioner concerns if all of us are in agreement.
okay.
Workshop time. Because we don't, I know,
Let's-
one person, Mr. Mayor, it's a public meeting regarding, it's a public meeting, but it's only our involvement. And we have public comments.
So we start at 5 o'clock and go to 6:30?
Yeah, 'cause the meeting starts
Yes,
at 6:30.
that'll give us an hour and a half. Hopefully, that will give us enough time. If we don't have enough time, then we can continue that the following meeting. Commissioner Walker will be here till the end of March,
Commissioner Walker, is that good time for starting at 5 o'clock?
hour and a half. We can always continue at another meeting if we're not able to finish.
Yeah, so, okay, it's good.
Okay.
Right?
Do we need a motion to amend the motion as far as time?
Mayor, you need to use your gas. We
Yes,
need,
please.
Mayor, you need to use your gas.
Who's out of order?
We need to quiet this audience.
Okay, audience, if you would, let's wrap it up. Let's kind of cut down on the talk in the sidebar so we can finish up
So
our
we amend
meeting.
the motion for the workshop time from 6 to 5, and that workshop time will be just concerns of the commission.
The commission, right. Okay, just amending of the time.
Of the
We
time.
have a motion. Could I get a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly second by Commissioner Everett to amend the motion to include the workshop will start on the 7th at 5 o'clock from 5 to 6:30, an hour and a half. Call for question, hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes,
Mayor Bab.
Yes,
and I thank you for your consideration.
thank you. Okay, we have no new business. We took care of that earlier. Now it's time for the comments, concerns of the citizen comments and general concerns. At this time, city attorney, we have any comments card completed? City clerk. What did I call you? I'm calling.
A lot of people promoted tonight.
It must be an opening something. City clerk.
We have 3. The first one is from Mr. Ed Bernal.
Good evening.
Good evening.
About a public speaker, it is hard to do this in 3 minutes, okay? That's a long meeting. I wanted to just say thank you to the city of Pahokee, okay? For the parade. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me? Thank you to the city of Pahokee because I really, really enjoyed the parade, and particularly our Mr. Williamson, who's not here, that everywhere I turned, there he was, working. And my grandson went nuts, and I loved it, okay? I really thought it was a really nice touch, and I want to thank the city of Pahokee, okay? I was a proud recipient of the golden nail and hammer. And by the way, my wife did put it in a gold frame, okay?
Did
which
you
is-
spend some of that money here though?
I spent the money on trees at the. You're using up my 3 minutes, okay? Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it, and I'm very proud of that. And if I don't get the lawn of the year in 2019, I'm in trouble, okay? Because we're already working on that. Again, thank you for the parade because you were everywhere. I said that while you were gone, okay? Okay. I made notes, but I also wanted to recommend that for 2019, perhaps, not only the Golden Hammer and not only the lawn, but I would recommend that maybe just a little certificate for the house that does a pretty house decoration for Christmas. Doesn't have to be the most extravagant, the most, gosh, the most, you know, Central Park. No, not New York City, but just nice. And I think it would be a nice touch to do it for Christmas. And not on a negative, but I moved here in March 2016, and that's when we started developing the house and fixing it and everything else. And we're very happy here because of the peace and everything else. When my wife brought me here for the first time, the streets were paved and they were cleaned and they were nice and everything else. And the only disenchantment I have, and it's not a complaint, is that why is there trash all over the streets every day of the week? I thought that there were certain days that they had to be put out. My wife gets out with a shovel, who's 90 pounds soaking wet, to clean up the curb, and if I blow grass in the street, I got yelled at, okay? I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, but...
Yeah, we can enforce it. We need to be giving out warnings, especially I drive down Bacon Point Road and it shows, so...
I'm done, I know. I put out my recycle on Tuesday because I thought it was Wednesday, and the same day I got a warning.
Well, that means they're doing it then.
No. But that was once in my life. But okay. I'm seeing stuff everywhere. Yeah. And again, look, I'm not griping. I'm not really. But it looks nasty.
Yeah. Okay.
It really does. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
City manager need to put a bird in code enforcement. They're not already doing it. They are putting out trash even on Mondays when it picked up on Thursday. That's almost a week.
In regards to the Christmas thing, the Chamber of Commerce
used to do
used
that.
to have a program and had a committee that rode around and did that. You might want to see if they want to reinstitute
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
City Clerk.
The second comment card is Miss Annie Core.
I forgot to ask, how do I get more involved? I'll find out later.
We'll find a way to get you more involved. Ms. Core, you got that Santa Claus hat on, so be nice.
I try.
I'm just playing with you.
My concerns are, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
And I'm not bad. Anyway, my concerns are about a code enforcement. I want to know Mr. Chamberlain, did you the one who hired the code enforcement? Code enforcer.
Code enforcement officer, yes, ma'am.
What I want to know is, I got a certified letter and I'm trying to figure out what that was for. And when I checked it out, she said about the painting was peeling off my walls. The painting is not peeling off my walls. She said that I didn't have all my screens in. It was only one screen missing. And I'm trying to figure out, do I live in HOA or what? Because to me, my house, I paint my house. My husband and I, we was trying to figure out what color we were gonna paint it. And before we can decide what color we were gonna paint it, I got a certified letter to my house telling me about I need to paint it. Now, I'm through with that because I'll be painting my house the 14th. I was gonna do it then anyway. But I just wanted to know, about the screen and everything, because a lot of people don't even have screens in their windows because they like the glare to make it look good, But anyway, I'm back on this. I'm backing on this too. I hear you say about how much money you spent for Citizen Village, how much money you spent over there and spent here, but you didn't spend nothing at Pahokee. We call it Pahokee Villa. Spent nothing there. I called the county We got our sidewalk done. Right now, we finna get our road paved. But we pay the city more money than we pay the county. And I'm trying to figure out, what we the third world or what? Because y'all don't even come out and do nothing for us. But our taxes are high. And I'm trying to figure out this one. We needed a park. We never got a park yet. I came up here about what? You was commissioner then. When I came up here and I said about a park. Our kids need park too. And I hear you saying $800,000 for a football field. And then I hear you saying so much money for Citizen Villa. But what about us?
We can help advocate for that.
Y'all don't do nothing for us. Nothing.
To the county, but if it's outside the city limits, we're not responsible for that.
You know what? Let me tell you something. We was invocated in the city. You know that because you was there.
I was just asking, and that area is inside the city limits?
The El Dorado is.
El Dorado. 8832 El Dorado. That's me. In Seville.
Okay. You are in the city.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But the roads are.
county.
And that's why the county was.
I know the
able to
roads
pay.
are county
Right.
rail. But I was saying, we get nothing. We get nothing. That's what I was saying. The only thing we wanted was park. We get nothing.
You're on the radar. We'll make sure you're on the list, and we'll get
But you
there.
know what? I'm gonna ask the county because I'm not gonna wait on the city.
All right.
I asked them.
Quick question. Have you identified an area where a potential park could be?
We was looking at behind us, where that'll be your aunt. Where your aunt property out there, back at the back there.
Oh, okay.
That's what we were looking at, because the man rather, he said that he was selling for $20,000.
Thank you. In addition to comment card, City Clerk.
One last card, Ms. Joanne Culberson.
Joanne Culberson, 1621 East Main Street, Pahokee. First of all, I'd like to tell you, I was at the Tri-City thing with the chamber packing vegetables. It was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My question is to Bab. Since it was up there and it was around the dike and the marina and everything, and Robert Lamford was there, why wasn't he introduced or even announced that the one that got the bid was there, so people could go in and go or talk to him? The whole coast was there,
Right.
and I think that was just a missed opportunity to get that out, that what was going to happen there, and that one of the ones that got the bid or the investor was there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, none of the VIPs was announced or recognized during that time. You only have a real limited amount of time to do your greeting. I wanted to mention the fact that was the case. Also, even encourage those visitors to visit the marina
That's what I meant. Not
and the
as much
campground.
Not as much as being introduced.
Right.
Because Belgrade Mayor said he told of the 11 projects that Belgrade has going on.
What about? I missed that. Belgrade Mayor didn't speak, but the commissioner did.
Somebody from Belgrade said they had 11 projects going in Belgrade.
The commissioner did say.
Okay.
Not the commissioner, but the city.
I mean, they said there was 11 projects. Even South Bay said something. But nobody said anything, and we're right there at the potential that is going to bring economical development and everything else to Pahokee. And it wasn't even, nothing was even said. And until we get that back on the agenda and get this going, I still to this day don't know if we're doing it or not doing it.
I'll say this and be real brief. When you do those type of greeting or presentation, it's almost like winning an award. You sometimes gonna miss some key things you probably should have said. I tried to jot down little notes to address certain things.
I would have called
and I
you that
did.
day if you
Mhm.
had have told me that
Yeah.
and mentioned that to you, because I just feel that was the opportunity of all these people that were there to come over to him and ask him this question or that question, or just to bring out the highlight of this is what's going to happen in 2019 in Pahokee, Florida.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think that's the conclusion of the citizen comments. Now we'll move to the correspondence, comments, and concern of the city commissioners. And I'll start with Commissioner Hill.
Okay, first I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to inform the community of a housing forum that we're having, at the Dolly Hand in Belglade. It's Thursday, January the 10th from 5:30 to 7:30. You got to join them for a conversation about the affordable housing crisis in Palm Beach County. I have a form here, and I actually placed some on the back table, but I think this is going to be a very informal, a lot of information is going to be given at this meeting. They're going to be discussing topics such as what are the biggest housing issues facing the county, how can the community leaders influence initiatives to leverage funding for affordable housing, what can we do to partner with Palm Beach County's Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability to discuss needs and plans for affordable and quality housing in the Glades. We have a link here on this form. We're going to have the moderator, James Green, panel. Our panelists will consist of Jonathan Brown, from the Director of Palm Beach County Department of Housing and Economic Sustainability, Susan Cabrera, President and CEO of Housing Leadership Council of Palm Beach County, Larry Greenberg, Chief Operating Office, Palm Beach County Housing Authority, and Juanita Mainster, Partnership Specialist for the United States Census. The details is on the back table, but I do have a few forms here to give out. But I think this is a very good forum that a lot of our citizens out here in the Glades needs to attend. It's called Housing Insecurities Forum. Basically, that's my announcement for the night, and I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Walker.
Good evening, everyone. I have a concern, Ms. Vice Mayor Mervin. The proclamation that you stated, only thing I have a concern about with that, your proclamation will include other parents, because if you get if you allow one family a proclamation, you should have all citizens inform them as a commissioner.
Okay, so for the proclamation that we're doing for the employee.
You getting one city, one family, you should include other families. Because it look like you're singling people out, a family out. You understand?
Right. I think the only reason why I did it because he's an employee of the city. The father is an employee of the city. That's the only reason why I asked, because he's an employee of the city. Because I think if we do everybody, we'll be doing one for every week.
Okay, that's my concern.
Right.
So it's a family.
Because he was an employee, he's an employee of the city.
Okay.
Yes.
My next question is this sign is going to be included right here, this large print.
Mm-hmm.
This is this
Is that gonna be in Commission Park?
Yeah, it's gonna be on display in Commissioner Park, during the ceremony. We're gonna actually move it to another location, but, because we're having both ceremonies at Commissioner Park, it'll be there so the public would actually see the actual sign.
I'm saying, is this the?
Yes, ma'am, that's part of the sign. What you see there in the background is picture, welcome to Pahokee.
How
Yeah.
much is costing the city?
The sign itself is two, front and back, costed $1,000 for both.
$1,000?
$1,000 for the sign.
Okay.
And the city is erecting it, so it's no additional cost for putting it up.
Okay, I want to, confer, what do you want? Confer with you, yeah. Convert with your comments about the, I want concur. I want to concur with the comments that Commissioner Everett made about the incident that happened at Tri-City Barbecue meeting, and I concur, Mr. Commissioner, Vice Mayor, your mayor, three that concern that you had. I want to be conferred with you, those. My voice is regular day. But I want those, I want to document that with those comments, because I agree with them. I agree with what you said. And, you know, I agree that we have come a long ways. We have a lot of we have a lot of projects completed, but I just want to know, I can feel like they are going in a legitimate, would you legal, but it's
You just want to make sure that the projects are all accounted for, all the expenditures are in place and in accordance with the grant agreements.
Exactly. So, you know, I know, but anyway, we'll talk with that. Anyway, I just want everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because Hanukkah. Because we won't be seeing each other for a while now. But I just want to wish all of you all happy holidays, and thank you all for your listening to me.
Just a reminder, Commissioner Walker is responsible for selecting the two businesses of the month for our next meeting, and she's aware of that. So I just wanted to make sure that we're going to be doing that. And before I get to Commissioner Everett, just have one question to the city attorney. In the event that a concern from a commissioner or mayor arose to a point where they felt as a majority that and I want to end this on a high note, so I'm not saying it's need to happen tonight or even will happen, but in the event where a commissioner is so concerned about an issue that they are requesting or suggest that the city manager receive a written reprimand or some type of verbal write-up just for counseling purposes. I just want you to kind of outline that procedure. Would it need to be a motion and second and voted upon, and then would the mayor be responsible for that, the city attorney? Who would be handling that part of it?
You want to answer now?
Yes, if you could, unless you need a little time to kind of figure out what needs to be done.
If there was a concern by the majority of the commission that you wanted to put in a formal basis to the city manager, then you would do that by motion and ask me to formulate that in sort of a memorandum to the manager.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. And we'll move to Commissioner Everett for his comments, concerns.
I want to say good evening to our citizens. I do have a few announcements to reiterate. Our MLK Jr. Celebration festivities will be on that Saturday, January the 19th. I want to make that correction. Also, the Pahokee Chamber of Commerce will be hosting both Pahokee and Belglade's chambers on Thursday, 6 to 8 o'clock p.m. At the Pahokee PNC Bank. Again, that's this Thursday between 6 and 8, and all are invited. Again, I want to commend my colleagues for agreeing to doing a proclamation for, I'm a lover of history, for a living legend, Dr. Dorothy Norwood, a person who sung with the likes of Mahalia Jackson and others. And she will be gracing our presence in our city at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church on Sunday, December the 30th, 2018. And I think it would be great at 5 o'clock. Be great if we would have representation to present that proclamation to Dr. Norwood. Also, I want to commend my colleagues for agreeing and without much deliberation about our special workshop with regards to the Marina project and concerns all of our city. And I want our citizens to understand it's not just the marina that is a concern. Other areas such as MLK Park or areas such as the Sub, and I'm not saying this to be politically expedient, but it's true. I mean, all areas within our city and outside of the city limits are a concern if we can do it. And but the marina has been given a lot of attention because we believe that it has the potential of stimulating economy within our city. But I'm grateful that we can definitely have a special workshop, and I hope it is purposeful to address concerns and address any misnomers that have been dangling, because we need to move it forward and we need to get it operational. Even when I had the opportunity of speaking with someone from the state, they viewed it as a win-win situation. When Pahokee makes money, the state will invariably make money. So I'm grateful that they have a belief that something great can take place on the dike. But I would strongly suggest, not only to my colleagues and to the city manager and the city attorney and the staff of our city, but I would strongly suggest even our community understanding the importance of protecting the face of our city. It's no good. It's no good publicity. You can go tell it on the mountain that we have a potential investor at the Palm Beach County League of Cities, and do that. But then when we get on Facebook and share disparaging news and comments with regard to city, we, as my great grandmother would say, we're cutting our nose to spite our face. I mean, we can't have false celebrations when we're not celebrating consistently the successes and having those truth moments and those in-your-face dialogues in a legal setting. And I'm grateful that we have created such, and I'm praying and hoping that we can have very forthright dialogue and conversation. One of the concerns I have, and I'm speaking not from feelings, emotions, like, dislike, because I try to deal with right and wrong. And I asked the mayor while Commissioner Walker was talking, and I do apologize, I don't want anybody to think that I'm throwing a rock to hide my hand. I did ask the mayor, because of his tenure here on the dais, both as a mayor and commission, and I want to say this: I have respect for the work of our city manager. I think he has done some good work in our city, some great work. Years of amenities and issues being neglected. We're having, and I whispered that to Mrs. Walker, we're having to go back and create years of neglect or negligence. But no one is that good that there can't be levels of accountability. I think all my bosses on my job loved me, but there were times where they called me to the side and said, hey, I've asked you for some things several times, and I haven't received it. And I think it's just good practice. We can be enamored by one's work and intelligence, but we can also have those moments where we say, hey, we need to crack the whip, for a lack of a better word, and that might not be the best politically correct way of putting it, but the mayor stated in his report his concern about financial reports, and failure to produce, failure to report to commissions per policy when folk are no longer employed. I'm very concerned about not receiving financial reports as a directive. And so I think this is just a suggestion of mine. As the city attorney stated, I'm just one person. I don't want anybody to think in here or on social media, because I've gotten drugged a couple of times of being Adolf Hitler trying to dictate anything. But I'm just giving my opinion. I think that we need to counsel in a written form with our city manager with regards to when we request such documents that we receive them. And that's my suggestion and my recommendation for my fellow colleagues.
You're putting that in a form of motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, note the specific concerns for the record.
The specific concerns is the concern that you stated with regards to receiving financial reports on a consistent basis.
And the other being introduced to newly hired staff when they're hired and when they're terminated.
Yeah,
Okay. Been a motion put on. We can
Please,
entertain
yeah.
a second. If not,
I
it'll
second
die.
it.
Okay. It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Commissioner Walker that the city manager receive a written notice of the commission concerns on those two items, and as the city attorney stated, he would draft the language to have documented our concerns. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion to have the documentation of our concerns of the city manager passes by unanimous decision. Did that conclude your report, Commissioner Everett?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And finally, Vice Mayor Mervin.
I would just like to say, well, first of all, I went to a meeting over in West Palm, and I think it was about the water issue, about buying the land to restore, you know, the reservoir. But while I was in that meeting, you know, it's good to be at the table. While I was in that meeting, we had someone to stand up and then they, you know, talk about the city of Pahokee, Belglade, and South Bay. But what I got out of the meeting, they talking about the reservoir, but what I got out of the meeting is, as I think each one of our commission was talking about the brand of our city. We're like 10 miles from Arden, I think of not give and take. But there is so much, Palm Beach County is a rich county. But we're fighting ourselves and pulling us down to where our county is looking at us, but that's all they're doing is looking at us. We need to come in and work together where we can help each other. There's money out there that want to come and people want to come into the city of Pahokee, but we killing ourselves and then they're looking at us and they're passing right by us. So, but we need to come together. I know I always stated that Facebook post, those Facebook things, everybody reads it. Wherever you go, they read it. And when you go to these meetings, first thing they say, what is going on in Pahokee? We're killing ourselves, even though we're trying to pull forward and doing projects, as they stated, that was neglected for years. We're getting there, but we're killing ourselves when we're talking about negative issues. And they're reading that stuff. And I'm telling you, we had people stand up in that meeting, and just being at the table is a good thing, but they're coming so far and they're stopping. They're stopping right there. But we wanted to come this way. We see everybody say, well, Belglade is this and Belglade is that. But if you go to other commission meetings, you don't hear some of this stuff, or either read the Facebook. It's only Pahokee bashing Pahokee. That's it. It's only Pahokee bashing Pahokee. And it's the residents that's bashing the Pahokee. But yet we want better for Pahokee. So we got to learn to change our conversation, change how we sell ourselves in our city. And that's all I have to say. Let's sell ourselves. I think we're doing a tremendous job. We're doing some stuff that was neglected 10, 15. It's not going to happen overnight. But I guarantee you we can work together. If you got any suggestions, we don't have all the answers. But if you got any suggestions, you know, you can tell us. You know, it's take all of us to work together, and that's what I think. We come together and work as a family. It's not this side, it's not that side. We have one Pahokee, and let's bring it to Pahokee can be a great place. I love Pahokee. I moved back here I think 4 years ago, but you know I love it, and I know the potential that we have. Our name is ringing in Tallahassee. Our name is ringing when we go to the National League of Cities. That I hear the good things about Pahokee. Let's leave it there, and let's go with a positive, and let's fight for our city and stop bringing our city down.
Well, they have some problems.
Yes, everybody.
On Facebook too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Belglade.
It's
everywhere.
It's everywhere, but I'm talking about our city, Pahokee, and that's what we're really looking at, and really. So let's work together, and let's just, you know, build our city, make it a community of choice and a community that we can love and live and play, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Mervin. Meeting adjourned.